The board has already participated in a closed attorney-client session and a workshop. We'll now call the regular board meeting of April 21, 2021 to order at 5:02 p.m. Mrs. Bass, will you please call the roll?
District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Alexandria Ayala.
Here.
District 3, Karen Brill. Here. District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
We have a quorum with all 7 board members present. Also joining us on our dais is Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy, and joining us here at the tables in front of us until they can once again join us at the dais are General Counsel Sean Bernard, Inspector General Teresa Michael, Palm Beach County. Oh, he's not here tonight. He's coming. Palm Beach County Student Council President Santiago Alvarez will be here shortly, and Board Clerk Carol Bass. Senior staff members will join us periodically as directed by the superintendent. Viewers and listeners can access the meeting today by either watching on Comcast channels 234 and 235, UVerse channel 99, or by using the YouTube link on our webpage at palmbeachschools.org. We also offer a listening-only option, which the public can access by calling 561-357-5900 or toll-free at 1-866-930-7015. The meeting ID is 1-561-880-1124 #. This meeting is being transcribed by a closed captioner, so please remember to speak at a reasonable pace. Will everyone please stand for the pledge to be led by Inspector General Teresa Michael. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome any public speakers who are joining us in person today. While your attendance here at the board office is appreciated, please be mindful of important safety protocols that the district now has in place to conform with COVID-19 safety guidelines. Please respect this cautionary warning that in the event of interference with the orderly processes of the meeting, failure to follow the safety protocols and procedures, or otherwise disruptive conduct, this conduct will result in removal of the person from the meeting. Please abide by these protocols so Palm Beach County School Police officers do not have to take action. Board members, we have 7 sets of minutes on the agenda for approval. We have a motion. Motion by Ms. Ayala, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have one item added so far for good cause. P2, good cause exists to add this item to allow employees to begin their new positions as soon as possible. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any other items to add today?
I have nothing else to add today, Mr. Chairman.
Any withdrawals?
No withdrawals, sir.
Board members, there have been 2 items pulled so far. 3, BRD1, FMPF1, and TL2. Is there any other items the board would like to pull at this point? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mrs. Whitfield, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Are there any disclosures or abstentions? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent, you have comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to begin by thanking our students, staff, parents, and school board members for your dedicated commitment to the development of the school board's next strategic plan. The new plan, like the current 5-year plan that sunsets this year, defines that our educators must prioritize what we must prioritize in order to, when it comes to student achievement, access, and equity, and overall organizational success of our district. I am grateful to the 28,000 people who participated in a survey in which we solicited feedback regarding the plan. Your input is currently being reviewed, and this information will be shared publicly as part of a live board workshop on May the 5th. You also have virtual community meetings planned. You will see a full schedule of community meeting dates and times at palmbeachschools.org/strategic plan development. I'd also like you to mark your calendar for the 2020-2021 Volunteer and Business Partners Awards. Tune in this Friday, April 23rd at 9 a.m. This event will be live streamed on our district website and broadcast on Comcast Channel 234 and ATT UVerse Channel 99. Over the past year, I have watched with great pride as everyone in the district stepped up to ensure that we were able to continue doing our jobs despite the very unique challenges we faced. Our business partners and volunteers were no different. For example, many of our business partners recognized the demand for items specifically needed as a result of this pandemic and made a point of providing those tools and resources. Our volunteers recognized that in-person help was not feasible. So they found other ways to provide assistance. What became clear is that the commitment and dedication of our business partners and our volunteers did not waver. Everyone pivoted to meet the demands of the times, and for that, I am extremely grateful. I'd also like to give a shout out to our media specialists. April is School Library Month, a time to recognize the programs, services, and resources provided by our school media centers and staff. School media centers are the hub of literacy resources on our campuses, and media specialists play a critical role in empowering students to be enthusiastic readers and critical thinkers. To our media specialists, thank you again for your dedicated work, particularly over this past year when you have risen to meet the challenges set forth by this pandemic. We are all in this together as we work to educate our children and give them assistance and guidance they need and deserve. And finally, today is Administrative Assistance Day. Our district's administrative assistants keep us scheduled, organized, on task, focused every day of the year. Whether you're working in a school or one of the administrative buildings offsite or here in Fulton Holland, please know that you're appreciated beyond measure. I also want to take a point of personal privilege and thank my executive assistant, Ms. Kelly Cox. Kelly is my right hand and I could not be more honored and thankful for the work that she has done every day. Since we closed schools March 13th, myself, and Ed Tierney have been in this office every day. And so I commend her and thank her for all that she's done for me. And Kelly, have a great day. And now I'd like for the Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Keith Oswald, to come forward to formally introduce to us an outstanding, newly appointed principal, and I take some personal pride in this decision.
Thank you, Dr. Fenoy. And while our new outstanding principal is coming up, I'll take a point of privilege and just put a shout out for Teresa Maloney, my assistant, who has done an amazing job as well keeping me focused. So a brand new principal, and I think, yes, there's a lot at stake here for Dr. Fenoy, as his child does go to this school, Wellington Landis Middle School. And I know, Ms. Andrews, you're pretty excited about your new principal, Miss Lindsay Ingersoll. Ms. Ingersoll, congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you, Dr. Fenoy and school board members. And thank you, Mrs. Wetzel and Mr. Oswald, for being here to support me tonight. I'm so excited and honored to be sitting before you tonight as the selection for principal at Wellington Landings Middle School. What a true honor to have been selected in this role at the place that I already consider my second home. The support that I have received, well wishes and kind words from the community, my amazing staff, and most importantly, my students, has been humbling. The support that I have felt at my first SAC meeting, my first village council meeting, and my other first as principal experiences has been so heartwarming. And my journey to this moment has been full of many supportive mentors who have trusted in me and helped me to become the leader that I am today. But there are two women who have taught me so much and have always had absolute confidence in my leadership journey. Mrs. Ann Clark and Miss Blake Bennett, there is no way I could ever thank them enough for seeing the leadership qualities in me and always encouraging me and building me up along the way. It is you two who push me to go out of my comfort zone and to continue to grow. I have made it my personal goal to be the Ann and to be the Blake for other aspiring leaders working with me. I know that I have huge shoes to fill, but I am over the moon when I think of the opportunities that lie ahead to build on the amazing initiatives that are in place at Wellington Landings. My focus will be on collaborating with all stakeholders to ensure that students have access to reach their highest potential through our academics, technology, our arts programs, and through social and emotional learning. Thank you again so much for this opportunity.
Congratulations, Ms. Ingersoll. Board member comments, Mrs. McQuinn.
I had the opportunity to attend another Thank a Teacher tour at Yeager Middle School. I think it was last week. Amazing how the time flies. And 3 teachers were selected from parent and student nominations to be recognized: Patricia Brandine, Ricky Brown, and Tiffany Scott. They're representative of teachers across our district. I just wanted to share with you that one of the teachers, brand new, this is her first year teaching, and she went to Yeager Middle School as a student and is back there teaching now. And when our news crew was interviewing her after the awards ceremony, the question had to do with, well, how has it been adjusting to this new world of teaching that we've had this past year? And she answered, I don't know anything differently, but this year has reminded me that I went into the profession that I was meant to be in. And I get the same chills right now saying it that I felt at the time. So it was just a great testimony from one of our brand new teachers. Thank you.
Ms. Ayala?
Thank you. Since our last meeting, I've had the opportunity to take my visit to Winbrook and C.O. Taylor Kirk-Lane Elementary. So I'd like to thank Principal Berry and Principal Dr. Lucas for their warm welcomes and for showing me just how many amazing things happen in District 2 schools every single day. We had an ESA leadership meeting that discussed the successful expansion and exciting partnerships with the International Spanish Academy. My colleague, Ms. Whitfield, was in attendance as well, where we got to talk about where there are ESAs in the district, the exciting new programs they're offering to students, including one with the Norton Museum in West Palm Beach, and different opportunities for students and educators alike to get additional professional development. So that was very exciting. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to visit the Guatemalan Maya Center in Lake Worth Beach that does incredible, necessary work for our most needy populations. They remain ready to assist with any need, and it was very relevant after our discussion on the workshop regarding our summer student progression plan. They have available people who speak not only Spanish, but also dialects of different languages from South and Central America for those ELL and migrant students who will have those needs. I'm very honored to be asked to serve on the Latinx Advisory Committee with Compass Community Center. They are building that community to start building additional trust and comfort for our community who faces gender identity questions and gender identification. And in our community, it's sometimes not the easiest thing to say as Latinos. So we want to make sure that they know they have a place where they feel comfortable talking to others and getting support. And outside of that, Compass offers many community services to our families. This morning, you may have seen that the mayor's task force in the city of West Palm Beach gave an update on our progress and our plans. I just want to remind everybody that as co-chair of the Education and Workforce Development Subcommittee, I want to hear from you. We all want to hear from you. So our meetings are the third Thursdays of the month at 5:30 p.m., and they go for about an hour and a half. We would love to have your input on how we can make the city of West Palm Beach, and especially our schools, more equitable for all of our students and for every single student. Later today in the meeting, we'll be approving a donation we received from Kira Labs, a generous donation of, 60,000 bottles of sanitizer that will go directly to our schools and our systems and our facilities and our buildings to make sure that we stay safe as we continue facing the pandemic. And finally, I want to tell the community here listening today that I will be having my virtual community meeting for District 2 and anyone else who would like to join next Wednesday, April 28th at 6:15 p.m. The Eventbrite link to sign up for that meeting, which will be virtual, like I said, will be online on our website and is also on all of my social media. So I look forward to seeing you there and hearing from you on how we can make the future of our district the best it can be. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. Mrs. Whitfield?
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to share the event that we had last week at Highland Elementary, and I want to say a huge thank you to Highland Elementary for hosting us and to Ms. Villani for all the work that she did to make this event happen. We had our question and answer session with the superintendent and the parents and families and children from Guatemala Maya community in the area. We were able to come. The Guatemala Maya Center was an amazing partner on this. We brought in quite a few families. There was a really rich, robust discussion. A lot of it focused on choice, which we thought was really interesting. Of all the questions that they could ask, they really wanted to know how they could get their children into our choice programs, and they wanted to make sure that their children had the best education possible. And I thought that was just a wonderful thing, how concerned they were and how engaged they were, and they wanted this opportunity to reach out. So hopefully we'll be doing it again soon. I want to take a quick second to thank Ms. Valerie Haynes, who took on a big section of translation, though we did have our translators there who did an awesome job as well, translating into Kanhabal and Mam. And we had quite a bit of Spanish, so they tried my Spanish translation skills out to the best of my ability. I listened and I paid attention. It's just such a wonderful evening, and I just want to say a huge thank you to them. Also, thank you to Dr. Fenoy for coming and spending that time with the community. It meant so much for them to see you there. And then also I want to say a quick thank you to Dr. Arce, the principal from South Grade, who also was able to attend. I know the families were very happy to see their beloved principals show up to this event. Finally, I do want to make a quick promo as well. My community listening session is actually tomorrow night, April 22nd at 5 o'clock. I get to be first, so hopefully I don't set a bad tone for the rest of everyone else. I'm very excited to do it, though. I've promoted it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so you can find it there or on the district's website. But I'm looking forward to hopefully a good turnout, and we will have, any questions that anyone's interested in having. I'm very much looking forward to hearing from the community and talking about our strategic plan. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Andrews?
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. We have come a long way, but we're not there yet. Please get your vaccine if you have not done so. We all need to get back together as soon as possible to the new normal, when we can be close to one another and be a family again, the way we always are, but the way we need to be. I want to take this time to thank everyone for everything you do each day, for your gallant work, your work that you do remotely, the work that you do in person. As a school board member and a member of the school board, you're appreciated. Our goal is to keep everyone safe. The real work is done by you. The custodians who keep the buildings clean, they keep everything clean. This is why we're sitting here today. The maintenance department, you keep us operating. You fix and repair things. You are on call from early in the morning until late at night. And yes, food service, you're feeding us day and night, feeding all of our children, our staff, and the community. And buses, I see you. I see you as I'm driving along. You're everywhere. You have never stopped. You are our unsung heroes. School principals, teachers, and staff, you kept the learning a top priority for our students. You are our heroes. District office, from Superintendent Fenoy to every member working in this big organization, the 10th largest in the nation, you are our heroes. Thank you. As we move forward in the new normal, we will succeed because of you. And guess what? You have never stopped. And the Education Foundation and Red Apple Supplies, you never stop. You never stop. As I see your new Red Apple 14-foot truck servicing teachers with supplies for the classroom, the big Red Apple truck with 10,000 scholastic books headed for the Glades the other day on the inaugural run. Thank you to the Batchelor Foundation, the Frederick DeLuca Foundation, the Honda Classic, for getting us that big new bus. Thank you to Kids in Need Foundation for getting the books for our children. And Golden Grove Elementary School, Golden Grove, a Green School of Excellence, winner of the Trek Challenge. You've been winning this challenge for the last 3 years in a row. You are awesome to win it in the elementary category. Your continued commitment to collect plastic wrap and bags are making a huge impact on the environment, keeping it clean, keeping it safe for all of us to live. Every bag recycled is one less in our landfills. And to the media specialists, we love the work you do. It truly is all about the books and the technology and helping our children grow and develop. Congratulations on your month. Thank you for all you do. And to my rock, finally, Angela Santa Cruz, my executive assistant, who keeps me on track everywhere I go every single day. Thank you all for everything that you do.
Thank you, Mrs. Andrews. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. So let me start off by thanking Maria Baez, who keeps me on track. And Lord knows I need help staying on track. So let's go to the Black History Fact for April 21st. Did a medieval African empire invent human rights? That is the title of an article at bigthink.com. Now, I think that I was taught that the Magna Carta was the first document to encapsulate any sort of human rights. However, the Kurt-Rukan-Fuga Charter, also known as the Mandan, M-A-N-D-E-N, Charter, is its contemporary, and according to at least one scholar, may even predate the Magna Carta. In 2009, the Mandan Charter was added to UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. UNESCO, of course, is the United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization. Per UNESCO, in the early 13th century, following a major military victory, the founder of the Mandingo Empire and an assembly of wise men proclaimed the new Mandan Charter. The victorious leader, Sundiata Keita, also included his adversary, who he had just defeated, in creating this important charter. This spoken document has been referred to as a constitution and contains a preamble and 7 chapters. It speaks on social peace, the sanctity of human life, women's rights, the right to an education, food security, and freedom of expression and trade, as well as the abolition of slavery. The charter gave equal rights to citizens, including women and those that were called slaves, which were really more like indentured servants. The aim was to provide peace and social stability. Although the Mandingo Empire disappeared, the words of the charter and the associated rituals are transmitted orally from father to son in Mali. There are annual local and national ceremonies in Mali commemorating this historic assembly. So remember the Mandan Charter, which outlined foundational human rights principles before or at the same time as the Magna Carta. I hope our children learned this. Thank you.
Ms. Burrell.
Thank you. So I'm going to start off by thanking the administrative assistants who've worked with me over this past year, Angela Santa Cruz and now Tiffany Ritzel. Thank you both for making me look better than I am. I thank you for everything that you do to keep me on track. So this is National Volunteer Week, and the Volunteer Business Awards is very timely this week because of that, but I just want to take a moment out to thank all of our volunteers. It takes a village, and we could not do it without you in a normal year, but in this year especially, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you've done to help us and help our students. Now, all of you hear this from me very frequently, although Ms. Ayala, you might not have heard it before. District 3 only has one high school. And so I would be very remiss, although we're voting later tonight, I would be very remiss if I didn't welcome Dr. Vela to Cobra Country. And I'm looking forward to having you meet the community. Cobra Country wants to welcome you with open arms, and so I look forward to working with you. And then finally, with regard to the listening sessions, you can find them posted on the school district's website as virtual community meetings. I just want to let everybody know that if you're not available on the night that your school board member is hosting, you can go to any of the meetings. So just take a look at the nights that they're being offered and feel free. You can go to one or more. You can listen. We need your input. This is all about getting input on the direction with equity, the direction of our strategic plan. So don't feel bound. If you can't make it on the night that your representative is hosting, come to one of ours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. I want to echo what the other board members have said, thanking everyone for the hard work. But of course, if I don't say something about Maria Baez in the board office, I'm sure she'll remind me about that tomorrow morning. I guess I'm very needy because I want to thank Maria, Carol, Angela, and Tiffany, because one of them is always helping me with something, especially Carol getting ready for the board meetings, and Tiffany to sign volumes of documents as board chair, and Angela always helping when Maria's away from her desk for a minute, and of course Maria has been a true treasure to have as a secretary, administrative assistant in the board office. So thank you to the four of you in the board office for supporting us all so very well. I've added my chairman's report to the agenda tonight. We have an in memoriam, so I'd like to take care of that now. So Cecilia Henderson, she was an assistant food service 1 at Marsh Point Elementary. She was born in December of 1960, and she passed away January of 2021. Brenda Laster, lead custodian at Olympic Heights High School. She passed away November 1960. She was born November 1965, passed away January 2021. Wanda Lee, a teacher, reading coach, support services. She was born in March 1960. She passed away February 2021. Thomas Miller, teacher, secondary math, grades 9 through 12 at the Palm Beach Regional Juvenile Detention Center. He was born in February 1956, passed away in March of 2021. And Bonnie Rowe, teacher, elementary 3, Elbridge Gale Elementary. She was born April 1958, and she passed away March 2021. If we could take a moment to remember these employees and their families. Thank you very much. Board members, you all have been advised that there are 71 recorded messages for this meeting relating to non-agenda items, the vast majority of which involve mandates on the wearing of masks. The total listening time of these speakers tonight will be just under 2 hours. So tonight, unless the board meeting ends prior to 7 p.m., we will hear non-agenda speakers for 30 minutes starting at 7 p.m. and ending at 7:30 p.m. pursuant to board policy, and we'll take up the remaining non-agenda speakers at the conclusion of the meeting unless the board votes to suspend the rules. Our general counsel has advised that pursuant to policy 1.03, the board may, by 2/3 vote, suspend the rule requiring the playing of recorded non-agenda messages so long as the board also provides that the messages that have not been played are sent to all board members to listen and be posted on the website and may be available for the public to listen. To this end, at the end of tonight's meeting or at 7 o'clock, whichever comes first, and prior to playing of the remaining recorded messages, I'll entertain a motion for this purpose, should it be the pleasure of the board to do that. General Counsel, do you have any further comments on that?
I think you covered it, Mr. Chair. I'd just add that this particular outcome is only appropriate for I think you stated it, for non-agenda items. It would not be appropriate for agenda speakers.
Okay, thank you. Student Government Report, President Alvarez.
I'm sorry, I have a comment or question about your chairman's report.
Sure.
Ma'am, so in your report, and actually, you know, I do appreciate the reports. You work really hard, meet with everybody on earth, it seems like, but, and it says that if we have any questions, to bring them up publicly. So my question is, when you're meeting with these people, are you representing us? Like, because, like, from here, I don't know what you said.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And I don't know what the solution is, but and there have been times, I think, that there may have been issues particular to a particular area that you might have gotten pulled into as a board member without having the full background, right? And then, you know, we have to discuss things in public, and so I just want to ask that you and maybe General Counsel give some thought to how we communicate that, because since it's the chairman's report, I infer that in all these meetings, you're representing this collective body. But I don't know, and I don't know what different people's interests might have been and what the ask might have been. It's just.
Yeah, sure, I understand the question. What I'll do is I'll work with the general counsel, and we'll figure out a way so I can identify when I'm actually meeting, because they've asked me to come as board chairman, and when I've gone to meet with them as a District 5 representative. Okay? You're welcome. Mr. Alvarez.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone has had a productive month. Throughout the end of the year, student governments across the county, they will continue to plan school and community-based projects as always. The majority of student governments are still doing posters and quotes, trying to keep motivation up around schools, fun lunches, Spirit Week centered around spring to keep students involved and motivated. Exam season is definitely proving to be a fairly stressful time for students, especially seniors. Over this past week, many student governments across the state of Florida and a few other states actually attended the Florida Association of Student Councils convention virtually. As Boca High is the District 5 president, we attended the meeting and we were able to share ideas and participate in different activities in breakout rooms. I would like to give a special congratulations to Gainesville High School, who is the new Florida Association of Student Councils president. Student governments are continuing to get through election seasons as they elect their new student government and class officers to serve next year. Additionally, student leaders have continued to keep all our students informed on school-run social media accounts. They have been providing up-to-date information about school events, sports, college and career information. The senior class executive boards are now focusing a lot of their time on senior events, including passing out clean senior class shirts and other events such as graduation and senior spirit weeks that follow new CDC guidelines for COVID. I attended a meeting with Superintendent Fenoy in which we discussed my finalized idea for the student committee to the school board. As you already know, the student committee, as I proposed, will have a student-run and selected committee. The president of each school will be the representative for their school, and the student representative to the school board will be the chair. The committee will be run under the superintendent and his office, and I look forward to the committee's first meeting. Lastly, I would like to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to serve on this incredible board. It has been one of the greatest experiences and honors of my life to get to represent the students across Palm Beach County and learn about your world on the school board. The position of student representative and county president is truly a very unique privilege and opportunity. However, it is all about how much you want to involve yourself and how much change you want to see. I have been lucky enough to get to attend equity workshops, planning committees, and even had the opportunity to leave my mark with this incredible student committee. I will take all the lessons I have learned on this board as I continue on as a University of Florida Gator. And don't worry, I know you guys will be seeing more of me in the near future. Additionally, I have one more last and final announcement. The County Council intent to run applications were due and finalized, and the position of president was completely unopposed. I am excited to announce that Boca High will once again be the president of the county and student representative to the school board for the upcoming school year. All the schools were given the opportunity to run for this position, and Boca High had intended on running for the vice president position. However, no school stepped up to run for president, and Boca High seized that opportunity. I am sure and hopeful that the board will embrace the new student representative from my school, Logan Harrigan, the same way you did me, and I look forward to hearing of her success. As always, I would like to thank everyone on this board for your efforts to better our education opportunities and for making our students your very first priority. Thank you for such an amazing year and for all the opportunities and lessons you guys have provided me and all our students with. I leave this board today thankful and a better and more knowledgeable person because of all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are you saying that you're not going to be here for our May meeting? You're not coming back? You're not? Yes. It's a requirement, you know.
We talked about it. He's got to get ready for graduation, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, he's going to be at graduation?
It's getting close.
Okay. We'll figure out something to get you back here. That'll take us to committee reports. Academic Advisory Committee, is there a representative here? It's recorded.
Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, school board members, Dr. Fenoy, and staff. My name is Laura Feldman. I am honored to speak with you tonight as the chair of the Academic Advisory Committee. Unfortunately, the Academic Advisory Committee was unable to hold a meeting in April since we did not have a quorum present in person. Without the quorum, we were unable to listen to any presentation and unable to hold any discussion. Thank you for your time.
Construction Oversight Review Committee is attached, so there won't be any report other than what's attached to the agenda. District Diversity and Equity Committee, recorded, or someone here?
Hello.
There she is. Go ahead.
It's off.
Go ahead, ma'am.
It's off. Oh, there we go. I was beginning to think you guys don't like me anymore. Good evening, board chair, board members, Dr. Fenoy, and everyone in your respective places. Charmaine Postal, DDEC board chair. The last scheduled DDEC meeting was March 24th. Was short one agency to make a quorum. I publicly would like to thank the agencies and staff that attended and traveled some ways. I traveled from Boca Raton, Florida, to attend those meetings, and we did not make a quorum, unfortunately. While we could not conduct a meeting, we determined the following vacancies still remains. Aspire of Florida, Division of Blind Services of Florida Department of Education, Haitian American Solidarity Center are all three that has vacancies. And just so you're aware as well, because I do know at last week's equity workshop, this was a question for staff, and as it relates to the District Diversity and Equity Committee, the following agencies are still without alternates or may have not attended certain sessions, but I would say without alternates because some of these agencies do attend the meetings regularly. IET Acquisition, Coalition of Black Student Achievement, which attends meetings, Economic Council of Palm Beach County, Esau Jupiter, For the Children, Gold Coast Down Syndrome, Guatemalan Mayan Coalition of Palm Beach County, Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, Hispanic Education Coalition, Palm Beach County Human Rights, Urban League of Palm Beach County, and Black Chambers of Commerce. So these agencies, again, as I said, let me be very clear that they do attend. Some of them attend. I will send a list out to those who have not attended at least 2 to 3 meetings. I will send that list through staff after the DDC meeting that is scheduled for tomorrow. But the 12 agencies that were just listed do not have alternates, and we could use alternates for them as per the DDC policy. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand the lobbyists, both Mr. LaFace and Mrs. Solnit are online. Start with Mr. LaFace.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You need a shave.
Yes, I heard that this morning as well. Good evening, everyone. As you all are aware, we're in the last week and a half of the 2021 legislative session. And at this point, bills and the state budget are starting to take shape. Based on where things stand today, I do anticipate an on-time finish of the legislative session next week. I did give an update on bills and budgets Monday in the executive cabinet, which I think has been distributed to everyone. But Ms. Fay and I do have a couple of bills we did not discuss and we wanted to report on today because they have moved or things have happened to them that I think you all should be aware of. The first one is a bill that we've been tracking, the union bill, which would require unions to revoke memberships for members upon their request without asking for reasons. And restrict which unions can require payroll deduction of dues. But that bill appears in the last day to have really hit a wall. It is stuck in its last Senate committee and that committee is not meeting again. And it was postponed on the House floor yesterday. So certainly session's not over, but that bill is looking unlikely. The other issue that I know that we've been following are board member term limits. As you'll recall, the House initially proposed a bill that would put a constitutional initiative in front of the voters that would eliminate board member compensation. That resolution was then changed into a board member term limits resolution to put in front of the voters, and that bill has been sent over to the Senate by the House. But at this time, we do not believe the Senate is intending to pick up that piece of legislation and pass it. But the House does continue to add school board term limits to some bills. They've got some language on a charter school bill that they're planning on sending over. So that issue is not resolved yet, but at the moment, it appears the Senate is not having any interest in school board term limits. I did want to give an update on our advisory board virtual meeting authorization. The bill that we have that language on was heard about 15 minutes ago in the final Appropriations Committee on the Senate. And we actually did an amendment to our language. We've been working with the Department of Education as well as the House professional staff to make certain tweaks to our language, which still gives us the authorization we need for advisory boards to meet virtually, but does it in a way that the professional staff is okay with, so that we can make sure that the House will pick up this language when the Senate sends it over next week. And now Ms. Fay is going to update you on a couple of other bills that board members have asked us to report on. If Ms. Fay, are you on the line?
All right, Mr. LaFace, let's come back to her. Mrs. Solnit, are you online? Go ahead, Mrs. Solnit.
Oh,
One of you go.
I'll go ahead. Sorry about that. I had to press star 6. Thank you so much for having us today. As Ron said, I will run through just a couple of other bills that we've been tracking up here in Tallahassee, and then turn it over to Ms. Solnit for her federal update. So one bill that I wanted to put on your radar is moving through both the House and the Senate. It's House Bill 545, Senate Bill 410, materials harmful to minors. This bill has received quite a bit of committee input throughout the process, but is in a place where it seems like it's in an agreed upon form, ready to pass both chambers. The bill seeks to make parents more aware of sex education curriculum by requiring school boards to annually approve curriculum and publish a copy of that curriculum on their website. It does not make any change to the current opt-out process. And then moving on to Senate Bill 2012. This is the Senate's version of the transgender sports ban. I'm sure you've probably read about it in the press and seen coverage, especially when the NCAA weighed in. It certainly was picked up in the press. This bill was temporarily postponed in the Senate Rules Committee earlier this week, but the bill would have required K-12 sports teams to be designated based on biological sex, and would have put the Department of Education and the Board of Governors in charge of a process for disputes if parents or students had disputes. The House bill did pass out of the chamber off the floor, and it was sent over to the Senate, but based on feedback from the bill sponsor, who's also the appropriations chair, it's very unlikely that that bill will pass this session, just because of all of the other issues and the budget issues that she is focused on working on at this point. And the last bill that I wanted to put on your radar is Senate Bill 590 by Senator Harrell. This bill was previously titled until this morning, Involuntary Examinations of Minors. So the bill essentially makes changes to the parental notification process when a minor is being evaluated under the Baker Act, and the process is initiated at the school premises. The bill specifies that the school must make a reasonable attempt to notify parents before the student can be removed from campus for evaluation, and it also requires a reasonable attempt to be made to have the student evaluated by a mental health professional, either on campus or via telehealth, before the student is taken off campus for evaluation under the Baker Act. However, this morning, the title was changed to relating to school safety. So we do expect to see the bill amended in its next hearing on the floor to incorporate the House school safety bill provisions. And so we will be watching that. The House did pass its school safety bill. It was heard on second reading today, and it's poised to pass out of the House tomorrow. And so with that, those are my updates, and I will turn it over to Ms. Solnit.
Thanks, Megan. So Congress returned this week from a very brief spring break, and they're churning out an awful lot of work. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to mention 2 items that came out just this week, and then I'm going to give you an update on a third item. So the first thing is the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the extension of a number of waivers. This is a good thing for the upcoming 2021-2022 school year. And most notably, those two waivers are the seamless summer option and the summer program reimbursement rates. Those two waivers allow school districts to provide free meals to all children through the end of 2022. So as about a month ago, this was going to end on September 30th. It is now going to last through June of 2022. So there were about a dozen waivers that were approved, including the flexibility to support the continuation of meal pickup and other meal service for virtual learners. And so I'm wondering if this announcement is some kind of a signal or recognition that operational uncertainties still, exist, and that perhaps some remote instruction will continue into the next school year in some states. Important to note that the state of Florida must officially opt for these waivers before the flexibility is granted to our school district. The second thing that came out this week was a document to guide the maintenance of effort on COVID funds. What that is, it's a 21-page guide that contains a really helpful chart outlining the differences between the spending requirements. So let me stop for a minute. There were, of all the COVID relief bills, there were 3 relief bills that contained education funding or K-12 funding. So it was the CARES Act, it was the CRSSA, which is coronavirus, I think, supplemental spending authorization, and it was the American Rescue Act. So this guidebook contains calculation worksheets and explains the differences in each of those bills, how you can spend, when you can spend, what you could spend it on. And I have to say, and it also tells you, by the way, when to request waivers. And looking at it, Mr. Burke and his team are superheroes for keeping us in line with those ever-changing rules, because it's very complicated. So those are the 2 items that came out this week. The third item I want to give you an update on is the infrastructure bill. I just think it's important to talk about it, especially at a board meeting. What everybody hears about, I think, in the infrastructure bill is the price tag. It's $2.2 trillion. We have to think of this as more than just an infrastructure bill. It's more than just roads and ports and airports and highways and school facilities. It's also a jobs creation bill. They have a lot in there about internet, cybersecurity, semiconductors, water purification systems. So for K-12 schools, it's $100 billion over 8 years to help repair, as they call it, crumbling school facilities. 50 billion of that would be in grants, and another 50 billion would come through bonds. The only other thing I'll say about this, because the monthly reports contain a lot of information of what else is in that bill, but the main point of contention is the price tag of the bill and where the money's coming from to pay for that. So the administration proposes paying for this bill by increasing the corporate tax rate. So let me stop for a minute and explain that in 2017, the previous administration lowered the corporate tax rate from 35% all the way down to 21%. So that was a 14 percentage point drop. So this administration is suggesting raising it 7 percentage points up to 28%. So that will be the point of contention. There'll probably be negotiations. The status of the bill is the House expects to pass it probably around July 4th. That's debatable just because of timing. But I am being told, all my sources are telling me that this will pass either late summer, early fall. So that's where we stand. Oh, and the last item is West Tech appropriations. So as you know, we've submitted an appropriation for $426,000. It is now sitting in the governor's office, in the Office of Budget, and they're analyzing the request, and the money associated with it right now is $250,000. I say this with an abundance of caution. As Mr. LaFace will also mention that the budget conference has yet to be held for education. So, and you never know, it's not over until it's over. But right now it's sitting in the office of, the Governor's Office of Budget, thanks to Dr. Charlene Ford, Mr. Oswald. We responded to their questions. I've had lengthy conversations with them, and they're now asking for letters of support. So those are all good signs. So that's an update. That's all I have now.
Thank you, Mrs. Solnit. Mr. LaFace, I understand you have another comment?
Yes, sir. Just as Ms. Solnit mentioned, we began budget conferencing on Friday. What paves the way for the legislators to meet in conference where they work out the differences between the House budget and the Senate budget is agreement on allocations in each silo. Originally, the House and the Senate budgets were built on having to cut about $2 billion in recurring funds. That's why, there were a lot of cuts to healthcare and higher education. But the allocations reduced those cuts to about $500 million. So it's only a quarter of what they were originally cutting. And they're focusing those cuts still on higher education and healthcare and not in K through 12 spending. But once that process began, we had a few meetings of all of the subcommittee chairs over the weekend. We did, in K through 12 education, we did get a glimpse of some of the spending decisions that they were headed towards. For example, the House and the Senate traded FEFP offers, where the House put $60 into the base student allocation, the Senate put $80 into it, but there are still a lot of differences over the overall funding of these areas. And basically the entire K through 12 budget was taken out of the subcommittee's hands and put into the full committee chairman's hands. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So we're still pending a lot of these budget decisions. As Ms. Solnit pointed out, West Tech is looking very positive at the moment. Certainly also is the COVID Acceleration Initiative. Both chambers are recommending funding, but the final decision has not been made, more because the entire silo has not been closed out. And currently there's no funding still for the Roosevelt project, but we do have a couple of budget decisions that we are supportive of, and these are kind of big picture issues. The legislature has decided to, instead of estimating there'd be 87,000 missing students in the fall, they've dropped that missing student count to about 22,000, which is consistent with what the districts believe will show up in each district next fall. They've also agreed to take the full value of the required local effort. As you all know, this is an issue that we've been talking about for many years, where the legislatures continue to roll back the RLE. This year they're taking the full value, so we're very pleased about that. And then on the FRS increases, last year, as you all recall, we faced a pretty significant increase in retirement costs for employees. This year we were expecting the same increase. But with COVID, the legislature has kind of decided that, despite some of the concerns of rating agencies and the bond agencies, that they're only going to do the increase on the FRS about half of what they did last year. So you can take last year's number, cut it in half, and that should be this year's costs. The final issue I wanted to mention that we're working on as it relates to the budget is certainly, Bright Futures has been something that's been very important to the district. It's something the district did a call of action on, and it appears that cause of action with other pushback from all areas of the state has put the brakes on Senate Bill 86, which was the bill that made changes to Bright Futures. However, the legislature in its budget conference is proposing to eliminate the textbook stipend component of Bright Futures, which is the $600 each Florida academic scholar gets a year for to spend on their textbooks. It's about a $37 million issue. It was an issue that we included in our call to action to preserve, so it's something that we are working on actively, and we're hoping to get continue the textbook stipend for Florida academic scholars as that issue is discussed during the budget conference as the chairs try to resolve all of these outstanding issues. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I think that concludes our report.
All right, board members, do you have any questions for either Mr. LaFace or Mrs. Solnit? All right, seeing none, thank you both very much for your assistance.
Appreciate it.
Takes us to the elected officials and delegates. We have James Gavrilos, our president and CEO of our amazing Education Foundation. Please come up to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Fenoy. Let me begin by introducing the new head of marketing and PR for the Education Foundation, Mrs. Marcia Andrews. Wow, my team was texting, did you hear what Marcia said? I said, yeah, I'm here at the meeting, I'm listening. But we do want to thank you, so I actually am going to start my remarks tonight with Red Apple Supply. As Ms. Andrews pointed out, we do have the truck, as we've shared with you, and we want to thank the Batchelor Foundation, the Frederick DeLuca Foundation, and the Honda Classic. What's the result of having this vehicle and the ability to take larger donations? Mr. Chairman and members of the school board, I stood before you back in September in the midst of this, the pandemic, and projected that by year's end, we would distribute roughly $750,000 in school supplies to our teachers and students. As of today, Mr. Chairman, we have distributed $925,904 in school supplies to our teachers, schools, and students throughout Palm Beach County. Now, I got to tell you something, that number's driving me nuts because it's $74,000 short of $1 million. It's like having a pizza without pepperoni on it, and I'm a vegan, and it's driving me nuts. Miss Andrews, we're headed back to the Glades next Friday with 8 pallets of hand sanitizers and masks donated by Lung Chu and this Buddhist temple, and we are going to crack the $1 million mark. This year, we will distribute over $1 million in school supplies to our teachers, students, and schools. And Mr. Chairman, this would not happen without partners like Office Depot and the Kids in Need Foundation. Office Depot continues to regularly send us truckloads of donations. Their commitment to this school district and to our students and teachers really is second to none. So Office Depot, we want to thank you for that. School board members, you can help us. You can help us do what we love to do most, and that's give money away. We are just about to open up the application process for our annual Go Teach grants. Within the next 3 weeks, that application process will be open. We would like so many teachers to continue to apply. To help them, we will conduct seminars on grant writing to make sure that a great idea doesn't die because the grant wasn't well written. Once again this year, we will be offering Go Teach grants between $1,000 and $1,500. In addition, thanks to the Frederick DeLuca Foundation, we'll be offering the Go Reach grants of up to $3,000. And I'm going to tease you. Hopefully next month we're going to finalize yet another level of $5,000 grants for our teachers. And so you can help us, school board members, speak to the schools in your district, get the word out. We exist to support you. We exist to get money into the hands of teachers who do unbelievably creative and innovative things. Thank you to all of our partners, to Office Depot, to the foundations, but most especially thank you to you who continually encourage us, Dr. Fenoy, with all the kind things you say and the trust you've put in us. We are your Education Foundation, here to serve you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've done an amazing job since you've been president of the Education Foundation. I don't know how we would have ever done all the things we've got done without you, so thank you for your dedication to our teachers. Charmaine Postal, who represents the Board of Directors of Florida PTA, and then Mr. Ridley, Chairman of Unify. Would you please come up to the podiums?
Charmaine Postal.
Hi.
Charmaine Postal, Florida PTA, Board of Directors. Florida PTA and their special committee FACTS was included in the Florida Department FACTS Florida Attendance Committee for Student Success, was included in the Florida Department of Education waiver request to the U.S. Department of Education. Florida PTA continues to advocate to Save Bright Futures, SB 86, and alert our members of upcoming legislation changes. We have a team of members in Tallahassee each and every week and weekend of the session, attending committee meetings and hearings. Florida PTA is currently planning their first ever hybrid leadership convention, July 15th to the 18th at the Innisbrook Golf Resort in Palm Beach Harbor, Florida. Florida PTA appreciates all of their volunteers, especially during this month of volunteer appreciation, for doing their best they can to serve the members, schools, and communities during these unprecedented times. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Postal. Mr. Ridley is recorded, as well as Laura Feldman, President of PTA, so would staff play those two recordings, please?
My name is Chuck Ridley, and I am the chair of Unified Palm Beach County and a member of the Coalition for I will be speaking under the delegate component. It is my understanding that some people are suggesting that the school police department be merged with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Unified stands strongly against this recommendation. Pressure from the state or pressure from powerful interest groups do not justify such an irresponsible recommendation. No matter the grade, no matter the age, students attending our schools are children. So why would we create an environment that potentially will place our children at risk for a permanent misdemeanor or a felony record, particularly for children as young as elementary age students? The district must maintain control to ensure school policing protects all elements of our child's safety. The sole authority and ultimate responsibility to determine, direct, and supervise all elements of school policing must be retained by Palm Beach County school leadership. Authority and a final responsibility for schooling cannot be assigned to the sheriff. There just cannot be two independent organizations with the authority to determine school police policies and procedures. Unified want to make sure this board understands the following. The district police culture must be laser focused on the success of all children. 2, the definition of student safety must be inclusive of our students' physical, mental, and emotional health. 3, the district requires direct, unfettered authority to develop and maintain a police culture focused equally on safety, academics, and the success of all students. 4, if the sheriff assumes control of the district's policing, the established policies and procedures of the sheriff department will eventually become primary. Even if the contract specifies that the school district policies will be prioritized, that is only.
Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, school board members, Dr. Fenoy, and staff. My name is Laura Feldman, and I am honored to speak with you tonight as the president of Palm Beach County Council of PTAs, PTSAs. Last night, we held our virtual Hill Day and met with Palm Beach County's legislative delegation to advocate our support for the proposed Baker Act Senate Bill 590 to improve parental notification. We also expressed our opposition to Senate Bill 2012, which would place discriminatory restrictions on participation of transgender athletes in school-related team sports. National PTA has a position statement affirming the rights of LGBTQ students and is a co-signatory of a letter issued by the Human Rights Campaign against such discrimination. We also expressed our opposition to Senate Bill 48, which would expand K-12 voucher programs without providing sufficient financial or academic accountability. And we oppose Senate Bill 1028, which would create a taxpayer-funded parallel system of education outside the control of elected school boards and hence would be unaccountable to voters. And we also discussed Senate Bill 86 regarding the Bright Future scholarships and our concerns about that bill as well. As the school year is getting closer to an end, our local units are getting ready for their end-of-the-year programs and teacher appreciation and are holding elections for their officers for next year. We're continuing our Letters of Love campaign. This is a fantastic opportunity for students to write letters to help the elderly living in more isolated settings feel more connected. Through this project, students can earn community service hours for the letters they write. For more information, please contact Sharon Lupin at wellness.pbccpta@gmail.com. We are looking forward to our virtual appreciation and end-of-year celebration, where we will announce the awards and scholarship winners on May 21st. And last but not least, the registration for Florida PTA's annual leadership training convention at Innisbrook is now open. This year, the meeting will be a hybrid, allowing people to attend in person or virtually. There will be a great many learning and networking opportunities, all within COVID safety guidelines. Please go to Florida PTA's website for more information. Thank you very much.
Board members, we have 4 items under new business, BRD1, BRD2, COM1, and FMPF1. If nobody has anything else to